Good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. Yes, it is Monday. All right, time to get ready for work, do all those things, all the weekday things. How are you all doing today? My plan for moving on today is to start consolidating some of what I learned during these streams into a wiki. And I have a wiki that I started a while ago, and then I like didn't actually continue moving with it. And I suppose it might help to sort of like give you guys an idea of like what my vision is for this. So, come on, full screen. There we go. So we go to GitHub, and I think it's gonna be Kyle Oberly. Yep, it's him, and then he has this wiki repository. And so I'm sort of modeling off of him. So Kyle Coberly is one of my mentors. I really I really loved working with him when I was able to. Um, and now he has this wiki on GitHub, and so I want to sort of do the same thing. And 196 pages with different I guess these are different like sections, but basically everything you could possibly await. So, for example, if you want to learn about, I don't know, how about do awk and like programming with awk and shell scripting. Like, here's a bunch of information about it that you can follow, and it's basically for himself, but he also shares it out with everyone who wants to learn. So I'll go ahead and put a link out to this in the case you want to take a look at that. And I'll also try to remember to. Okay. That way I'll try to remember to share this out also in the stream description. All right, so I created my own knowledge page. So it's a repo. It's just standard GitHub repo. There is nothing in it whatsoever. It's just an empty repository. But under wiki here, I'm able to create this. Now this is also a wiki. This is also like on GitHub, so it's a normal repository. So therefore, I can clone this locally. So I've got that uh, cloned in my Git Kraken here. And so here's where this is, and we can open that up in VS Code. Hello, stacking. So all the pages for wikis are just markdown pages, and then you can put folders in. I think. Oh, this one doesn't. This one doesn't have. Interesting. Okay, I wonder, does computer science show up? It does not. Okay, so that's a problem. So I need to rename you. And then I bet this will cause it to show up. Stacking, hello, good morning. How are you doing? The weekend went way too quick. Oh, I agree with that. Can we get a retake on that? Tell you what, in about 5 days, we'll try it again. How about that? Yes. Okay, so with that pushed up, here we go. Now we can go and see this page here. So the big thing that I want to add today, and then I want to try to remember to like add things here. Oh, custom sidebar. Okay, I see. So this is where you could have a sidebar. That could be your categories that go to like the various places, sort of like an index page. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that's underscore sidebar. I don't need to create that right now. Yes. Every once in a while, when I throw things, Zilby actually enjoys playing with them in order, like as a fetch type thing. That one he got immediately distracted and decided not to go after it anymore. All right, so this all works there. Let's go ahead and create a web assembly md web assembly. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the Twitch line highlighter in case any of you want to like help out here. There's not gonna be too much code, but I think we can like probably put some stuff in here. So resources. So maybe like these are gonna be like the uh probably like resources to learn. So it's gonna be the web assembly book. All right, let's go find that. It was down here, WebAssembly book. Here we go. Okay, so we have that. You wonder as an artist, how do you come up with song names? Like, what what possesses you to make a song name named Pot Pie? I don't know. It's a good question. I also like with some of these Creative Commons song titles, like some of them are very interesting. Um, I wonder if that's what it is that when you're on your own, you don't have like a company to sort of like try to force you to create a normal name. You can create all sorts of fun names. All right, Kitty doesn't want to be locked in here with. Here, I'll let you. I'll leave the door slightly open in case he wants to come back and hang out with us again. But until then, I might as well turn off cat can. Cat can. Okay. So that's the WebAssembly book. That's what I was using to learn. And then if we go, and let's actually open up our, like the code we worked on. That's in here. So we used, oh right, we were using, so we did this all in the WSL. So let's see, what was it that we needed to do? We needed to set up, right? We need to install wasm pack. Now I don't think we need cargo generate, but it does set up like as a template. So it might be nice to like figure out what we need to do without the cargo generate, so we don't get all the extra stuff. And npm is required, which okay. So we need to install wasm pack. Let's see. So software, like, is programs needed? Maybe getting started, like a WASM pack. Programs to compile to WASM with Rust. Okay, so WASM pack is this thing. Okay. So I don't think we need cargo generate. That's just for us to get going quickly. That being said, cargo generate looks like it's pretty cool because it allows us to use any Git repository as a template. I mean, if that's true, we could create our own templates. That might be interesting to play around with. I'm gonna add that to my list of like things to investigate. Oh, GitHub has template repositories as well. Oh, thank you, Museum. That might be interesting to look. We can mark a repo as a template. Okay, so so I do both things. Like I create a template repository on GitHub, and then I can use something like cargo generate to then use that repository. Oh, nice. Le, le, Lego Logic 16. Good morning. Okay, so cargo generate to for building projects from template repositories. Okay. Any tips to pass a job interview? I mean, how many job interviews have you done so far? Like, what's your experience level with that? So I think with this one, I want to create a new file. Maybe we can create one called like rust.md. And so in here, only one. How did it go? For internship, for your first job, you automatically got offered the job after the internship. Oh, nice. Congratulations on that. For passing a job, it was awkward. Well, of course, job interviews are pretty much like they're almost always awkward. I wouldn't worry about that. Okay, so tools. It's gonna be cargo generate. Okay, so that's gonna be something we work on later. I don't know, like practice. Practice is the best way to like get better at job interviews. Uh, and it's unfortunate because it never really gets easier because the job interviews change uh when you get into like different levels of work. So like trying to get first jobs, that's like one type of interview. There's a lot more programming, there's a lot more whiteboarding. The further you go, like the higher up you go, there sometimes is less programming, but sometimes it like ends up being more weird other stuff gets added in too. Maybe even just uh, it might even be like that. There's like business knowledge that you need to have at that point in time in order to like answer about that or team lead type of stuff. Can whiteboards just die already? I mean, whiteboards have only are useful in Well, I can't say like I fully agree with that. Whiteboard interviews are only useful as like abstract tools. I don't think that there should ever be like an actual programming like portion on a whiteboard interview. I think the most it should be is like to be able to take notes and maybe like show off like what you mean if you're trying to answer a question about like, oh, if I wanted to like if I wanted to design an architecture for something, here, let me just show you that really quickly. I think architectural type stuff that could be fine for whiteboard interviews, and I've had a few of those, like when I was going for senior positions. Um, but yeah, like full programming whiteboard interviews. Eh. Would you apply for a job you are not qualified? Yes. Um, in fact, most of the jobs I've applied for, I would say I am not qualified for based upon what they technically put on the job requirements. Yeah, stacking is right. According to HR, no one is qualified for the job. That's almost true. So, think about this. Here's how it works. A team needs a new employee, and so the hiring manager or like the team lead goes to HR and says, okay, we need a person to be hired for this position. This is and then the person say, okay, that's great, we're gonna create a job rec, we'll like put that out there. What do you need? What skills do you need? And um they might say, oh, we need somebody who uses front end frameworks like um like React. Um Oftentimes when you're hiring like this, you don't necessarily know. You're more like, oh, we use React, but we're thinking about switching to Vue. Meanwhile, the HR person is just taking notes and just listening to all of these keywords, and he's like, okay, so we need somebody who knows React and Vue. And then what level do you say they need? They need to be mid level. Okay, I have a book table that like, okay, mid level means 5 to 7 years of experience. Okay, I'm just gonna put 5 to 7 years of experience for each of those technologies. And like, what else do we have? Oh, you we have we have 4 different databases like spread across the entire thing. Never mind the fact that their team only uses one, they're gonna add all of those in. That's just HR not really knowing exactly what how the technical part works, and then it just happens. 20 years of Rust experience, but Rust has only been out for 6 months. Yeah, no, exactly. Like that kind of thing happens. Danny Fritz, hello. I think whiteboards can remain in interviews as long as it's just planning and high level talking, not coding on a whiteboard. I agree with that. You need 4 years of working at this company to apply to work for this company. Yeah, I mean, well, HR does want you to find somebody to get hired. No, so let's like step around. Um, if you're on the hiring side of the company, HR does want you to find a high quality person. HR, however, doesn't know what a high quality person looks like for us. Like if somebody is hiring an administrative assistant or an electrician or anybody with like a field that has certificates that guarantee their quality, then all you have to do is look at their do a cultural interview and then look at their certificates. If they have it, they're qualified to go, and then you can hire them. You're gonna go full Rambo applying to this job. All right, good luck. Also, it's Lego logic. Like, don't only apply to that job. I would apply for all the jobs. Like if you're searching, um, now is the time to like just go full hog and apply for everywhere. There's usually there's usually a slowdown that happens in hiring around like December time, because that's the end of the most companies, their financial calendars are January to January, and so December is usually when all the departments have run out of money and they can't actually afford to hire anybody anymore. And then January, they sort of like refigure out what their budget is. They get refreshed, and then they start hiring again. As far as should you apply if you're not qualified, is it your limitations or some condition in the hiring process? Do you think you can do it, or you maybe put off by the list of requirements? Yeah, that's another great point, Museum, which is like, are you actually not able to like do the job? Like, can you provide value to the company as you are right now, or is it that they're, um, or can you not, ignoring like the wish list that they put in there? John Games, you just sneak in and set up a desk. Your security was weak. Let me fix that for you. Um, I've heard people joke about that. I've never heard anybody actually do that before. In some ways, it feels like if you're really 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 um, super outgoing and confident, then you can do things like cold call, like in person. Although that doesn't really work now due to the coronavirus, but like in the before times and the after times, um, I know people that do that. That like actually will walk into an office and just say like, "Hey, I have these skills. Would you like to hire me?" The requirements really HR. Okay, yeah, and so like I guess like you can cold email still. That's a good point, Danny. Um, yes. So the entire years of experience thing, that's actually not that's not limited to software development. Like a lot of times we feel that it's something we have to deal with. That's actually across the industry. A lot of HR people and hiring managers are sort of how like there's I don't know who made it, but there's this idea of like, okay, seniority just across the board, across all skills, is like this many years per level. And so that way, when you as a hiring manager tells HR, I want somebody who's a mid level, they then write in the number of years experience that means. Um, that being said, the team might be happy to hire you if you don't have that, but what it means is that you have to convince them to convince HR to hire you, which is where networking comes in. Because you might need them to bypass the HR process just a little bit, just to bend the rules a little bit, and that requires networking. Regardless of your logic, good luck and let us know how it ends up going. Okay, so we have our so we need the WASM pack for that. That gives us all of this fun stuff. Now, what did they give us in our on our cargo TOML? Okay, so WASM bind gen. So we are depending on WASM bind gen. Okay, so these are gonna be cargo.toml and dependencies. So there is WASM bind gen. I think I actually want to just take this. I can go to. Oh, what was the other one? Was it live? Live.rs. That's what it is. The much nicer looking cargo sort of front end, the crates front end. So find then. Your mother-in-law is old school and still big on networking. She always asks every day, "Did you have 3 cases of networking for that day?" I remember doing that when I was like first starting out, forcing myself to get out and do a lot of different things. I like I agree. It's big. It's huge in the industry. Um, it's like for me, like a networking thing isn't something that's gonna automatically get you in. Um, but what it does do is gives you some like extra chances, maybe a little bit of foot up. Like for example, I had a when I worked at um, a code school, or rather when I was applying to go into a code school, I totally destroyed. Like the interview killed me. I was terrible, terrible, terrible. But I had done some networking, and I knew one of the lead instructors there, and I had gone and done some like guest speaking slash teaching at one of the core classes, and apparently they the students did a campaign to get me hired, and so they called me back in and said like, okay, you need to do another interview with us, because the last one was terrible, but everybody says that you're really good, so let's try again. And then that time I smashed the interview, did really good. So it gets down to networking can actually give you a second chance if you fail. The library is a bit different from create scenario because it's statically generated every n minutes rather than when a crate is published, but it's a much nicer interface. I agree with the nicer interface. I hadn't really like seen it until somebody showed it to me like a week or two ago. And it's written in Rust for the most part. Create.io is weirdly in C and JavaScript. Interesting. We're stacking, right? It was you. I couldn't remember if it was you or Lord Mist or which one. What don't people like about Create.io's interface? Let's see. We go back and take a look at this. So live.rs. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that it's dark. Um, Here's a question. Can you find the available categories on crates.io? Available categories. What do you mean by that? To go to crates.io. Because like there's all these categories. It just feels like a pig for such a basic website. I mean, it's essentially like it's a standard website. I think like they're all fine. The category names, those are the user facing ones. Oh, for these. Whereas here, categories is slightly different. Also, it starts with these categories too. Category slugs is the one you're looking for. Yeah, I don't know where to find that off of their site. Just browse all the crates. But let's see. Oh, under docs. So docs. Starter guide. List of category slugs. Oh, there it is. Okay. Those are the actual categories you apply to your crate, and then it doesn't show any examples besides in here. Okay. Interesting. Live.rs helps makes that obvious for what your crate should be similar to. Okay, so that basically in our cargo.toml. So if we open here for our categories, where's that going? Actually, I don't know if we have that set up here. But we could set up like the keywords or the categories or something like that. And then that's that the slugs are where we go find those. All right, back to this. So for our dependencies, this is required. Maybe I can even do required. Now, not required, like works with WASM. So rand works with RASM. However, so rand works, but we have to add in features for WASM bindgen. Maybe let's just do this. You use crates.io almost exclusively, but you see the appeal of live.rs. I've been going back and forth recently. I forget the name of live.rs, but that's mostly because crates is like a lot more like habit. There's a work in progress of replacing our old web server with one using Hyper, but the team behind crates.io is very small and sadly overworked. I can believe that. I can believe that. So if you are doing WASM with Rust, we did find that Rand is possible for us to use. However, we do have to have this features WASM Rust WASM bindgen in order for it to work for us, and then everything is just fine. That being said, we ran into a fun error. So let's come back to here. If I not this one because I don't have it set up in there. We have to do this one. Okay, so cd let's see, documents, builds. Instead of here, if we do the wasm pack build. Wrong directory. Need to go in here, and then I can do it. We ran into this fun error where we got all of this crap, and then we get this fatal error. However, it worked. Like everything was just fine. So if I take you, you should disable optimization at this point. How do I disable optimization for that? Is there wasm pack? Oh, here I'll show you what version this is. 091. Wasm dash opt equals false. Is that in the crates.io? Wasm pack is outdated. What would you use instead? The book has us using wasm pack, so maybe that needs to be updated. The error message says it on the last line of the server, right? But how do I? To save a wasm opt, add wasm dash opt equals false to your package metadata. Oh, okay. So add wasm dash opt equals false. to your package metadata in your cargo.toml. Okay, what is... Okay, so, what is it? Cargo.toml. You need to go into the metadata. Oh, is the first section with the package name? Oh, okay. That's... Oh, this stuff. Okay. There we go. So if I add you in there. That didn't seem to do it. That is saved. We're inside of Wasm Game of Life. So... Oh, you has a nice little comparison to take a look at. Oh yeah, and you doesn't you use WebAssembly like behind the scenes? Oh, wants it as a named profile. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so you're using WasmPack and WasmBindGen. Okay, so package.metadata.wasmpack. Whoa, that's a fun one. Okay, so let's try this. Basically, for the dev profile, what --debug is, disable the optimizer. Okay, so we have profile.release. Is there... Do I need to create like a profile.dev then?
Got a little Swedish there.
Can I do something like profile.dev, or is it development? And then we can maybe... Nope, that's not it. Okay, so then we want the essentially package.metadata.wasm. Yeah. Okay. So let's put this in here. Package.metadata.wasm pack profile.dev. It should be dev, but from what I see, it wants a named profile, which is a newish cargo feature, which seems too new for that. Interesting. So let's try this then. So then inside of here, we're going to do wasm opt equals false. Okay, let's try that. And we're going to take you, give you a try. Oh, no, that still didn't work. So you don't like it. How about if metadata? So there's version metadata. Meta build. What if you did a clean first? Good question. Let's try that. Cargo clean. And then again. No, didn't work. So to your package metadata in your cargo to Tomo. This would be a lot nicer if they actually told me what that means here. So the manifest format, is there like a list? Okay, so like package metadata. Okay, so you could do something like package.metadata. Oh, okay, so it's just package.metadata. All right, let's give that a try. So this one's gonna be package.metadata. Wasm-opt equals false. No, still the same problem here. Did I misspell that? Package.metadata. No. That's the same of what you have here. Do I need something like .dev? Or is this in the wrong place? Like, do I need to put this somewhere else inside of here? Here's a question. Cargo check. Oh, you have it under profile. Oh, it's showing up as profile to package metadata. Okay, so put it above the profile section. Okay, so that's okay. So these are interesting. So these are like namespaced. So like profile dot. Do I even need this? Do I even need profile like that? Can I remove that and then just have this profile dot release for all of this stuff? Okay, but let's try this. So foo bar is the same as foo dot bar. Interesting. Wonder how it knows to like go back to root. Okay, so if that's the case, then like I'm in like features.lib. Is that what that is? So how do I make sure that this starts at like the basic? Do I need to probably want to remove the dev. Oh, okay. Okay, so I think I understand. I could then move you up here and rename you to like metadata like this. And that would technically work because this is package.metadata. Oh, it'll have to be double bar. Like that to indicate that it's a sub of package. Okay, let's try it. Clean and let's do a check. Nested tables are very weird in Tamil. I'm learning this. I would explicitly state it because now there's a break change between Tamil 0.4 and 0.5. Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay, so it's not telling me that you can't do that. Cargo, no, it's warning, unused manifest key metadata. So that's, it didn't like that. Okay, so let's try just the package dot metadata. Save you. Okay, so cargo clean could not remove. Oh, you should be able to remove those. Just fine. Oh, okay. Now you can. Okay, so now that I do this, checking for WASM target, compiling WASM, unused manifest key. So it's not saying it's unused anymore. But it still isn't doing the thing that I want it to do. We're still getting this exact. So WASM opt equals false to your package metadata in your cargo.toml. So package.metadata, WASM opt equals false. Rust analyzer was indexed. Oh, okay. That's what it was happening. Okay, so come on. Try wasm wasm package build dash debug. Okay, let's try that. Wasm pack build debug. There we go. Okay, so that worked. Now, if I wanted this to be, if I wanted to build this for release mode, we get this error. Which doesn't really give it like error invalidating input. I'm not really sure how to fix that. So you need to set up the release profile for WASM opt. Oh, so for by default, oh, that seems not good. Okay, so it's not about package metadata. It's about here in profile.release. Oh, look at this, opt level S. WASM pack. Oh, I already forgot what it is I need to do. Come on. WASM dash opt. Opt equals false. Okay, so if I do that, so that didn't work. That opt level is for Rust C, saying it should optimize for size. Oh, okay. So I was hoping that this would do for the release, but that doesn't like that. Okay, so that's for profile.release. Oh, this has it using a named profile. Okay, hold on. Let's see the comment near the bottom of the code block for what you can copy. So let's go take a look at this. All right, so cargo.toml configuration. Okay, package and metadata.wasmpack.profile.release.wasmbindgen. Oh, here it is. What? Package.metadata.wasmpack.profile.release. Wasm. Oh my gosh. So we come here. We don't have you. Instead, we throw you in. then there we go. There we go. Yeah, we would have guessed that. Like we were just about to get there. Uh, thank you, Musean. That that is when compiling with WasmPack under release mode, set that flag. You were half right. You didn't know it was compiled and released by default, which I don't know why you would do that. Everyone else seems to compile and release like by default in dev mode. Yeah. Sure. Okay, so what that means is so our cargo toml dependencies, we want to so maybe we want to change this section to like cargo.toml, and we could actually just sort of set up a default cargo.toml here. I don't know if I can do like toml like that if they'll understand a little better. But if we take you, copy you in, and let's like figure out what the things that we actually care about are. Raven Legend, hello. Now that's fixed, the real issue is that your version of wasm opt is probably wrong. Too new or too old. Like maybe I installed that like way back when we first started doing exploring of WebAssembly, and that was like a couple months ago. So maybe it's updated. All right, so in the package, authors. So this is all fine. Edition. I started to like start winding down between 8:15 and 8:30, so we got a little bit of time left. Wasm opt isn't that big of a deal until you get very large wasm blobs. One thing that I would like to figure out is like, how do I compile for release mode then if it's gonna give me all those errors when I'm doing like normal things? Kind of sucks. You don't need wasm opt. It's just okay. Thank you for giving me wasm opt when I don't need it. All right, so edition name, basically name of package. Probably 5% size reduction on average. Oh, I'm used to like these type of release things being like huge impacts. So version, we can do something. Yeah, we can just stay with that. Okay, so dependencies, wasm bind gen. Can I do comments like that? Is that legal? Let's find out. This is a comment. It should yell at me. Okay, so that's fine. Big reductions are choosing the right libraries or features. Okay, so basically just, yeah, opt level, opt build, or wasm opt false is what we want to do here. Okay, so I can do comments like that. So that means in here, package. So all of this is like pretty standard. I don't think I need to comment any of this. This is all like normal. Dependencies, wasm bind gen. So we need this to, we absolutely need this. So this is like required for all wasm projects. Now, then down here is going to be optional dependencies. Note the features will allow this to work with actually I probably want to like put this up here. No, the feature will allow us to work with WASM projects. The important creates are WASM bindgen and JSys and WebSys that gives you the API for the browser JavaScript and a way to have your GRESS code callable from them. Okay, that's nice. Then it gives us rand. Okay, dependencies, a console error panic hook. So we didn't actually use any of this in our like when we were going through the book. So maybe I won't include it here yet because I don't really know it. Dependencies we alloc. I don't know if we used this. Like we weren't using this. At least according to what we saw in here, because there's this we alloc. I guess okay. Is there a point to this over the normal allocator? Or should I not use this? Like okay, if I remove you. Okay, so no errors. So we're not using you either. So if I remove you, and I go back to recompiling this, so that's fine then. Okay. Okay, so that compiled and did all the things. Yeah, so okay, that's still working. See, I don't think we don't need the alloc. Okay, so WASM bindgen test. We were doing all of our testing without like the WASM bindgen test. So I don't know if we need this either. So basically, if I remove all of you, if I remove you, you. Okay, cdylib and rlib. Oh, crate type. I don't know what those are. What's crate type? Does this have somewhere in here like crate type? There's lib, crate type. Okay, by default, examples are executable binaries with a main function. You can specify the crate type field to make an example be compiled as a library. Is there a list of them? Okay, here it is. The crate type field. The crate type field defines the crate types. It's not exactly where I thought it was going to take me. That will be generated by the target. It is an array of strings, allowing you to specify multiple crate types for a single target. This can only be specified for libraries and examples. Binaries, tests, and benchmarks are always the binary crate type. The defaults are, okay, so normal library would be lib. proc macro library. So a procedural macro library is a proc macro. An example is binary. The available options are, okay, so here's what we can do. And we can learn more about them in a REST reference manual. Oh, so here's where we can do like, okay, equals bind. A runnable executable will be produced. So what do they have us using? cdylib and rlib. cdylib, a dynamic system library will be produced. This is used when compiling a dynamic library to be loaded from another language. This output type will create .so files on Linux, .dylib files on macOS, and .dll files on Windows. Oh, nice. Okay. So it sounds like we do need this if it's going to be used by another language. And then rlib, a Rust library file will be produced. This is used as an intermediate artifact and can be thought of as a static Rust library. These rlib files, unlike static lib files, are interpreted by the compiler in future linkage. This essentially means that Rust C will look for metadata in rlib files like it looks for metadata in dynamic libraries. This form of output is used to produce statically linked executables as well as static lib outputs. Okay, so it sounds like I need both of these. Okay. So here, let's I don't need any of the special things for here. So dependencies. Let's go ahead and just put our comments in here. I wonder if like I can get an extension for toml files. That'll give me better highlighting. Do any of you have any suggestions? This is the most popular one. It's only got 3 stars. But then again, stars may or may not mean anything here. I rarely star. Let's try this one. Oh, there we go. This looks better. Okay, so for the dependencies on here, we want FindGen is, so let's see, required for awesome projects, and then these are traits that are compatible with WASM projects. Okay. Okay, so for the lib here, for this section, this output, well, I guess first of all, the link to the documentation would be nice here. There. These output library files that are required by the linking. I guess like the linking programs. The linker in WASM. Pack. Okay, so for profile release, I don't necessarily care to opt level for size. Do I? Maybe I do. This is profile.release anyways. And like, I'm not sure how useful this is for like profile and then profile.release. Shouldn't I just have profile.release? Couldn't I do that? If we're going to do like profile.release here anyways. So that means all of this stuff until the next one. So this is optimize. So optimize code size. Optimize for code size. Then this console error panic hooked. So we don't have that. So You. The alloc is a tiny allocator for WASM. There's only 1K in code size compared to the default allocator's 10K. It is slower than the default allocator. However, unfortunately, WeAlloc requires nightly rest when targeting WASM for now. Okay, so then if I want, let's not use you then. We'll take the 10K hit for like at least our right now. And then this is by default WASM pack builds for release mode. This will turn off optimizations for release mode. We won't get very much out of it, so we won't miss the I guess like we won't miss the release optimizations when building for real. Some optimizations are still happening. WASM opt is just a post-production optimizer that you apply after the normal optimizations are done. Okay. Rusty LLVM are good at optimizations, especially with the -s. Okay, so now this is in release mode. If I'm I guess like it is. Okay, so it's building in release mode, which gives us this. Interesting. Okay. So if I do this, we should be able to cargo clean. Should be able to do WASM pack build after sort of updating the cargo.toml. You'll get all the normal release optimizations. WASM opt is like compression. Oh, it's just compressing. Your already compressed file. It usually can't hurt, but can be beneficial if it works. Now, we removed like a bunch of the other stuff. Is this still necessary? Probably, but let's go ahead and try it. Yeah, absolutely. It's still necessary. So if we build you and then we npm run start. So here we can see that our WASM file is 59.6 kilobytes. So then if we do that, where are we going? We're going here and refresh. It's still working. So that is good to see. So I'm going to copy you back over to here. And let's paste you in. Okay, so this one is now an annotated cargo.toml file. I'm actually really curious if it's going to get, like if GitHub knows how to do the proper code highlighting for this. So we can basically update this cargo.toml the next time we're doing WebAssembly stuff. Normally, you have your server using gzip, snappy, broadly, whatever compression on its resources. Yeah, that's true. Like we can do like a gzip. So that 59K would still get decreased. But even if it is just 59K for like all the logic, for web applications, I found that users are a little bit more lenient with those initial download sizes. It's web pages that people seem to be like very, oh, if it doesn't load in like 2 seconds, I'm out of here. Okay, so that gives us our cargo.toml. Now, if we come back to our source, we have this utils. We weren't using these at all, so I don't need to worry about that. So wasm bindgen extern C is required if I want to use any of the like the JavaScript functions inside of here. So for example, I think what we had done is declared function alert that takes in a string, which was like that, and then it doesn't return anything. So I think it's sort of like trait. So is that true? And then I should be able to create another function here. Let's go ahead. Let's do a pub function alert the page. I will take in a string. We're not going to return anything, but what we are going to do is call alert, pass it in string. And so you yell at me saying this operation is unsafe, but if I try to wrap this in unsafe, it yells at me saying, hey, you can't do that. Like that's an unnecessary unsafe. So that's fun. So if I do this, and then we come back to our www, we go to index.js. Well, actually, then we want to pull in alert the page. Then we can call this. So just alert the page, hello world. So if I do this, we have to rebuild. No, that's that one. We have to rebuild. Then we can start you. If I hit refresh, here's that hello world. So lessons learned here. This is how. Okay, so we need to use wasm bindgen prelude. This is basically like the code. Hello world. Rest. Okay, so we want use wasm bindgen prelude. Don't need any of this stuff. We do need you, and we need you. So what's happening here? Oh, nice. We get highlighting here for this. Okay, so let's see, tells the compiler. It actually tells it wasn't pack. To make this available to the JavaScript code. However, it tells okay, so it is the compiler. So it tells compiler. However, it must. Let's see. So that's just for the wasm bindgen. Now for extern C, this is going to be binding. Is this binding the JavaScript, like essentially the DOM, like the native JavaScript functions for use in Rust code. Note that this looks like a trait definition. It's declaring an external function, so it has a name arity, the signature. Okay, so basically, that's what this is. It's basically we're declaring the function. So, declaring alert function signature, so that we can use it elsewhere. I don't know, that the word suddenly feels like I don't know how to spell it anymore. Yeah, that's just saying a JavaScript function named alert that takes a stir and returns nothing. Yeah, okay. So yeah, okay. So it's basically function signatures. Exactly like in good old C when you have like those function signatures at the top of the file. All right, so then down here, this is let's see. Alert, the page is only available because it's public. Private functions. Okay, so it's only available directly from index.js or JavaScript because it's public. Let's go ahead and word wrap this. Private functions still need the. So let's see. All right. We can call the function signature declared above, just like normal functions. That's fine. Okay, so let's say I have like another function. We do awesome find gen, and we just have a private. So just function get name. This returns a string, let's say. And we're just going to return hello world to owned, like that. And so let's say because this is a private function, it will not be available to directly call from JavaScript. This is still required, even though it's a private function, because this function might be used from another function that is directly called in JavaScript. Basically, okay, so this is still required given this private function because this because we want this code to be included in the wasm file. That's what we want. Calling a C function from Rust looks the same. It's kind of amazing to think about JavaScript and C being used the same way. Just like you can use extern C, function puts, sconst u8, i32, you can call the C puts function from Rust, assuming you're linking against the C standard library. Oh, interesting. I don't remember much of the C standard library, so like I don't really like know what I can grab in there. Okay. So let's see. The other things are. Can we return? Yeah. Okay. So this all works then, and is all happy from this. So there we go with that. So that's now telling us like how to do a hello world and like gets us set up with this. Cool. 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 So then the rest of it is like enums. Oh, I think maybe something else is like this. Um, like structs. So that's hello world. Uh, and it's like just more. Let's go in here. Okay, so wasm bindgen. Okay, so structs are seen as classes in JavaScript. They don't have constructors, so will have to be. Um, so one will have to be created. The way that looks is here. We put this on the impl block um, instead of each of the functions. Therefore, all of these functions will be included in the wasm file. The wasm stuff doesn't know the fancy Rust types, so they need to make them dumb like a C type is. Okay, nice. Rust is still has standard SO standard to layout structs in memory. Oh, nice. Oh, no standard library. Okay, yeah, that's true. They have no standard way, but maybe someday. Lord Mist, hello. Okay, so that gives us this impl universe. We have new. This is our constructor. Will be called in JavaScript as we'll do universe dot new and then like it isn't possible to create a constructor that uses the new keyword in JavaScript. We tried that. A Rust struct that doesn't have a specific repr has an undefined layout. There's the Rust repr, the default, to make sure it has the same undefined layout as other structs from that compiler version, where repr is representation. Okay, that's nice to know. So then basically we just do all the normal stuff from this point on. Is there anything else we care about from here? Not really. It's all just sort of like the private files. Oh, and that needs to be public. And then there's testing. So, oh, he's telling you this because you missed the repr. Oh, did I miss the repr? Uh, Not on Universe. I missed it on the enum. but I didn't put the enum. We should repr C. Oh, we should repr C on here. Interesting. That's not on the book. Let's try this. What does it look like? Wasm bindgen does it by default. Oh, okay. So repr C. If I do this, I deleted something. I deleted all that stuff. That's cool. There we go. Ooh, it doesn't like that. Oh, nope. That's just the normal silly thing. So npm run start. And let's go ahead and there we go. Okay, everything is still working. So yeah, let's go ahead and bring this over. This one. Okay, so this is tells the compiler that this is represented as C, as a C struct. Wasm pack auto puts this in, so we don't need it in our code. But our representations, we can maybe like add those in. So reppers, presentations. So what we probably want to do is like following presentations are available in the code. So we would want something like repr C, repr U8. And we probably want to go like find some other ones that we can do too, but that'll be later stuff because it's 8:30. It's time to wind down. It's probably was time to wind down a little bit earlier, but I think this was good stuff. Thank you so much, Musean and Stacking and everyone else for helping out with this. Let's go ahead and close all of these. Back here. Okay, so here's our knowledge. So adding assembly notes. So if you see that, just know it's asking the compiler to adhere to a different standard layout for the type. Oh, okay. So like it's basically, hey, compiler, don't use like the normal Rust way. Use this other languages way. And FFI almost usually always means C. Okay, nice. Okay, so I can push this up, and what this means is if we head back over to here, hit refresh, here is WebAssembly, and all of that stuff that we just wrote is now available for us here. Oh, look, and it's nice. Our hello world, it does have Rust. It is able to see this. And there's kind of highlighting in the cargo.toml as well. So if you want to take a look at my knowledge page, here is this. I'm going to go ahead and share a link to that. And I'm going to put a note in here to add that in. All right. So with that being said and done, that's all up there. I am going to go ahead and switch to my end screen. Where are you? There you are. End screen. Thank you everybody so much for stopping by. Thank you again, Musean, for all this help and stacking, and whoever else was helping with some of the informations. This was like super helpful for me, like making sure that I get this all out there as documentation for myself. Also, I'll be able to use this again in the future. So I'm gonna head off to my normal day job, and then I'll be back tomorrow morning, where I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna work on yet. We might continue a little bit with this, or something else. I'm gonna think about that. Anyways, I will be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, which is now daylight time, Mountain Daylight Time. It's an hour earlier than previously if you're not in something that changes their time yesterday. So that's cool. Anyways, hope that you all have a great rest of your day, and I shall see you next time. Bye.